What are the WTO rules and how will they affect us in the world of shooting sports? Most people with businesses watching government TV ads are scratching their heads at the moment. Businesses must get ready. Get ready for what? Canada style rules? Everywhere else style rules? Even the government website you are sent to has no idea. However, businesses cannot work to a Boris style timetable. We need to buy ammunition and guns so we can go shooting. Some of us want to sell game meat and venison. Others want to take their dog abroad. Here's what will happen if we end up with no EU trade deal.
If we don't get a trade deal and we stick to WTO rules, that essentially is a flat line standard across a number of all the countries within the WTO. For importing arms and ammunition, there are tariffs that need to be paid. For arms, it's 3.2%, and for ammunition or the parts of ammunition, it's 2.7%. Interestingly, it's 2.7% also for parts of firearms. So for your repairs and those parts, it's a slightly lower tariff than the arm itself.
The gun trade is more than just guns. It's all kinds of kit and accessories. So how do WTO rules translate to what the gun trade will do?
I think worried is the wrong word. I think we just have to take it with what is coming. I mean, the 3.2% on the guns, yes, definitely we need to put them forward. It's about 6% on the optics, which gets a bit more painful, to be fair. And then I think the really painful one is actually the clothing. So all the clothing is going to be 12%. So that really is painful, especially if for anyone shipping directly from Europe to end customers or something. So we are looking into that, if there is any way around it, if we can get stuff directly from the factory, so we're not paying an EU tariff and then a UK tariff or something. But that is not nice. I mean, these are all the things I think people didn't necessarily think about when voting for Brexit. And thinking about it personally, I think, well, we have to put it through. I mean, taking 3.2% or 12% on the clothing out of your profit at the end of the year, I mean, we as a business cannot afford that. So unfortunately, we will have to push that forward. We're not looking at adding any more or making a profit on these 3.2% extra or something. But definitely that will unfortunately have to be on the end customer actually bearing these import tariffs that are due to Brexit.
Browning has decided to make it easy on its consumers.
So it's not disastrous. It's certainly not going to be any different to an average price rise every year. But Browning will consolidate everything at BWM, and we'll do the paperwork, and we'll do the VAT and duty deferment, and then the dealer won't have to become involved. So we will just do all that for them, and we'll have a bigger stock holding in the UK. So we'd be like a proper distributor wholesaler rather than shipping it from Belgium. We are not going to increase our prices for the first 3 months, just in case there is an agreement, but between now and the new year, or just after the new year. I'm sure there'll be something. So we're not going to put our prices up in anticipation of a deal in the first few weeks of January.
It's not easy running a gun import business.
Of course, I want a deal. Of course, I want something sorted out. But then thinking about like on the bigger political picture, I think, well, if the UK gets a deal, are they the first of many who are going to take the benefits of the European trading and then not pay in anymore? So I think it's a very, very difficult balance we have to find. Obviously, being European myself and actually also regarding myself European and quite liking the idea of a trade union and everything. I think it's very, very difficult to find the right balance. And but on the other side, of course, I want to continue running a business over here, and we as Blaser want to run a successful business. So for us in the UK as a company, a deal would be, of course, the most preferable route.
Then there's game meat. We tried to find out what the WTO tariff on venison is, but the WTO doesn't seem to cover it. Here's the useful tariff finder on the website. There's a link to it in the description below. We tried all kinds of meat and it gave us results, but no deer and no venison.
Give you two scenarios. WTO and Brexit.
I honestly have no idea what's going to happen with Brexit. We had, as an industry, had a meeting with Food Standards Scotland, who we were under the impression we're well informed with what's happening from the government, but the gist of it, to summarise, was listen to the news, and you'll probably find out at the same time as us. The only people that really know what's going on are the people in that room. They've said prepare for a no deal, which we have to an extent, but realistically we're just going to have to wait until the 1st of January and see what happens. I mean, if I prepared for everything I was supposed to prepare for, then yeah, it would have been a massive waste of my time, effort and money. So we're just going to have to wait and see.
Okay, but tariffs, what are we looking at potentially with no deal?
Honestly, I have no idea. I have no idea what might and might not happen. I guess one part of me thinks that if we go with no deal, I think with all the money that's been spent and for the UK to come out of this sort of coronavirus situation, if there is tariffs, I'd like to think the sensible option would be for the government to subsidise these tariffs, because realistically, circulating money within Britain is not going to achieve anything, but bringing new money in will help with the problem. So the sensible head says that. I guess the pessimistic side of me says these guys have no idea what they're doing and we're just going to have to bite the bullet, but we'll just have to wait and see. So I am forecasting right now 0 sales between the 1st of January and the 30th of June, which is our year end, and we're having to make sure we can run off that.
No sales?
Yep.
That's the way you're working?
That's the way I am forecasting to make sure that us as a business can cope with that.
And the UK deer and venison bodies don't know what the tariff is either. Thanks to Nick Taylor from Deer Industry New Zealand for pointing me to the WTO. Whatever. If there is a tariff, buying your venison off the UK hillside suddenly makes more sense. No deal won't be so good for taking your guns in and out of the UK. The European Firearms Permit ceases to work for Britons or for others coming into the UK on the 1st of January 2021. The best way to apply for a visitor's permit if you're shooting abroad is to approach the consulate or embassy of the country you will be travelling to, and any through which you may also be travelling. They will either have the application form available for download from their website or will be able to supply you one on request via email. The exception is Northern Ireland. Under the terms of the Northern Ireland Protocol, the government has confirmed that residents of Northern Ireland will still be able to request a European firearms permit and to use it to take a lawfully owned firearm to an EU country, including the Republic of Ireland, from the 1st of January 2021. Taking your dog abroad, UK pet passports will no longer be valid for travel. Instead, pets travelling to the EU from the UK will need a 20-page animal health certificate issued by a vet. And there are lots of bits attached to that. It cannot be issued to you more than 10 days before you travel. It can only be used for a single trip for entry to the EU. You have to come back to the UK no more than 4 months after the date of issue. You can't get an AHC for a pet younger than 12 weeks, and they only start being valid 22 days after your pet has had a rabies jab. Otherwise, no problem. And of course, that could all change. Unfortunately, Boris Johnson is broadly anti-countryside, so don't expect any of this to be a priority in a future deal. To read this info in full, go to fieldsportschannel.tv/no deal.